Hey everyone, and welcome to The Loft. I'm Woody. You may notice I'm in a slightly different arrangement today. Well, that's because, as promised on Monday, I am going to review the RetroGameBoyz controller that I ordered from Michael over at RetroGameBoyz. Helping me do that today are my two assistants, or really the stars of the channel, Isadora, my Amiga 1200, and Clint, who you met a couple of weeks ago, my Commodore 64. So let's get right into it. Starting with Isadora, my Amiga 1200, I'm using the game Shadow of the Beast. The controller feels very natural in my hand. Growing up with the NES controller, this gamepad feels very much like that. While the weight is not as much as I thought on Monday, most of that is actually in the 9-foot-long cord, it still has good weight to it. The buttons are responsive and clicky. The plastic is softer than the cheap USB NES dogbone controller I'd been using. This makes it more comfortable for me to game longer. It's also a benefit if you're a heavy button presser like I am. Moving on to Clint, my Commodore 64, I tried getting footage of the game Commando, but it kept glitching. I did play better than I normally do, and I credit that to the RetroGameBoyz gamepad. The footage here is Arkanoid 2. This game is best played with paddles, but the gamepad is a very close second for me. The movement is very fluid, and the paddle on the screen is easier to control than with just a traditional joystick. One unique thing that I did notice while playing Shadow of the Beast and various other games on Isadora is that the button for jump essentially is doing the same thing as the up arrow on the D-pad. You can use up for the jump button, both for jump, and both if you're climbing, they will climb up. This makes sense, as most joysticks of the era, even by the time of the Amiga, they all had one button for fire, and really you used the up motion to climb up or to jump. It wasn't until later that they started adding more buttons. So this makes sense since the gamepad is essentially a joystick, just without the actual stick. So it's doing the same role as a joystick, just in more of a NES game controller form factor. Though it will be interesting to see as I explore more games with this, if there are any games that use multiple buttons, and see how that works out with the mapping. As I said earlier, the cord is plenty long, coming in at 9 feet. I don't need nearly that much. My loft is not that big, but it's nice to know I have it. I just keep it in the twist tie unless I need more cord. Michael, you did a better job than Nintendo did on their NES Mini controller cords. Well done, sir! So in case you can't tell, I highly recommend the gamepad from RetroGameBoyz, Michael's shop. The Etsy link to his shop will be down below. Tell him Woody sent you. Pick up one or multiple. I highly recommend him. Now, if you don't mind, I think I'm going to get back to some gaming, so I'll see you next time.